is not a matter anyone would take lightly, but I want to make it clear to Ms Slater that this is not personal. This is about a collective failure in the Minister and indeed her government's ability to deliver on the promises they made to Scotland. Lorna Slater, a Green Skills, the Circular Economy and Biodiversity Minister, who travelled to the Western Isles on a chartered catamaran at public expense, pleaded ignorance in the face of questioning around gene editing to the UK Minister, a Minister that failed to warn of the delays to DRS. The SNP knew what was on the horizon, presiding officer: wildlife management, a fishing ban on 50% of Scotland's seas, and they saw their scapegoat for the inevitable calamities that would follow. She was thrown to the wolves, and the wolves have had a field day. Fergus Ewing described Miss Slater as the enemy of small businesses. With Miss Slater in post, Scotland's carbon emissions increased. Biodiversity has plummeted, with iconic species such as the capercaillie on the brink of extinction, and the Minister has failed to make any progress on her plans to ban waste incineration. A King Midas in reverse. Everything that Miss Slater has touched has seemed to turn to screeching U-turns, lengthy delays and anything but gold. But one thing I would say is that her failures do not need to be a bad thing. We can learn from these mistakes. We can begin to understand the value of proper consultation, of taking our time to get things right, of evidence-based policy making that engages and listens to businesses and communities right throughout the process. Ideological fervour alone is never enough. It falls short of the expectations of the Scottish public, which they all have in us. And that, I feel, goes to the heart of what has gone wrong here. Rushing policies like the deposit return scheme and the fishing ban without taking the time to speak to those whose lives will be most affected by this comes at a cost. The cost is the trust of the people, and the cost is the trust in this government's ability to do the right thing. Presiding officer, we cannot ignore the Minister's woeful record on maintaining the trust of the people in Scotland. As Blair Bowman said of her handling of DRS, we deserve better than this incompetence. Can the public continue to trust a Minister who misled Parliament over Scotland's renewable energy statistics? Can business trust a Minister who doesn't believe in the concept of economic growth? Can farmers trust a Minister who repeatedly ignored formal and informal warnings over the need to allow the use of Azulox? And most importantly, can we trust a Minister who promised to deliver a deposit return scheme which has put the firm in charge of the scheme under threat of bankruptcy, jeopardising jobs and investment?
Members.
Presiding officer, the answer, I'm afraid, is no.